Chasing the 20s is proudly partnered with these fine companies. Railblazer. Think outside the tackle box. Go to railblazer.com for all your boating and kayak accessories. Achigan, the official brand of smallmouth bass. Go to achigan.com and check out all their smallmouth apparel. Ken's Jigs, custom-made fishing jigs. Go to Ken's Jigs on Facebook or call 570-850-9153 and make your order today. Little Miami Outfitters Elite Rods. Go to littlemiamioutfitters.com to find your next elite rod. Nico Baits, the next generation of soft plastics. Go to nicofishing.com for all your soft plastic needs. Thanks for joining us today, and let's get into the show.
All right.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome to the show, everyone.
We're live again. I see there's some people on. It's surprising with the Eagles at the end of the game here. I didn't think anybody'd be showing up. But thanks for everybody for showing up.
Hopefully you're watching both.
Yeah. It was a little hard for me to get away from the TV there at the end. I'm not a real big football fan, but it was a pretty exciting game to watch.
Yeah, no, it's definitely always interesting when the snow just adds so much to the game. Like, it's such a factor. It changes the game so much. So
yeah. So guys, welcome to Chasing the 20s, Susquehanna River Fishing and Juniana River Fishing. We have a special guest on tonight. We have Vincent Stuter on from Angler's Anchor. If you guys don't know, he is a YouTuber, big time fisherman, big uplifting guy, real great personality. I started watching his videos about a year ago. He does a lot of bank fishing, and he catches a lot of bronze bags.
Way more bank fish caught than I ever catch. I don't know. He's like the magic man when it comes to bank fishing, but
yeah. So I got a hold of him, and he told me that he was never on a podcast before. So what a good way to bring him on here, Chasing the 20s. I'm sure he caught a bunch of 20s before, and he fishes the Susquehanna River all the time. So I mean, it's a perfect fit for our show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys are gonna enjoy the stuff that he brings, because, like I said, he's a hammer from his videos. He's does great, and it's awesome that we were able to hook up and bring him on. So
yeah. So before we do that, I did mention in the last podcast we had about some people posting photos of some of the Susquehanna giants that they have caught in the past, and I have a couple people that put some photos on the group page on Facebook, so we're going to share them now before we get into it with Vincent. So here we go. We got Josh Sims with a
healthy looking,
looks like a 20-incher, I would say.
I would think, yeah. But yeah, thanks, Josh, for sending that in, man. Josh is another
thanks, Josh,
that we're almost always chasing in our tournaments. So.
And then we got Alex Goby. That's a fat bronze back right there. That's definitely a winner fish there.
I was just going to say, you can tell from it, not only what he's wearing, but just the coloring on that fish, that's a cold water fish right there.
Yep. And then we got our buddy Ken. Got a 21-incher.
Not only does he make awesome jigs, he also slays them too, apparently.
Yes, he does. JP Poole.
Yeah,
he's I think he's fairly new to fishing the river. He just got really into it this past year. He watches my channel a lot. I know that. He's always commenting. I gave him a couple tips on some baits to use down there in Wrightsville. I think he fishes a lot in Wrightsville there.
Yeah, we've seen him down there a few times.
So thanks, JP. Thanks for sending that photo in. Beautiful fish. Scott Wallach
with another one.
I met Scott on the river over the summer. he was on them, and he invited me over to, where he was fishing at. And what a nice guy. We had a good day that day. But
And look
yeah,
at
nice
that.
fish, Scott.
I remember looking at the tail on that one and how huge. I love it when they have those ginormous tails like that. They're
Yeah, that's a nice
strong and moving
fish.
some water
Yep. And then we have our very own Mickey Allen.
with a tank.
Always.
Mickey's no stranger to big smallies.
No, and I think that fish there might have been caught on the Juniana.
Okay.
Not 100%, but kind of looks Juniana-ish. And then we have Jonathan. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name because I don't want to butcher it. But thanks, Jonathan, for sending that fish in. That's a beautiful smallmouth.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Nice. Thanks for sending those
guys,
pics in, guys. Yeah. Keep it up, and we'll keep highlighting your catches. So
yeah, we want to try to do that on every podcast. So I'll be putting out another post for the next one for you guys to show us your smallmouth, Susquehanna smallmouths. And did you want to do the river levels real quick before we bring Vincent in here?
yeah, we can. So unfortunately, well, we'll show you guys this. Although with the weather the way it's going to be in the next week or two, it's going to be tough for anybody to get out there, I think. But as you can see the trends, a lot of the main launches are trending downward. I think. Let's see. I know the bottom right is Marietta. I'm trying to read which ones they are.
Yeah. The one next to that is the North Branch up in Towanda, PA.
Okay, so that one's also
we got Harrisburg up there in the left top corner. And then the West Branch, Lewisburg.
Okay.
And then Sunbury is the right top corner.
Gotcha. So for the most part on a downward trend, but looks like Sunbury is kind of holding steady for now anyway. We'll see how that trends with snow and ice and all that fun stuff. But
yeah.
So we will continue to highlight the river levels. So we just we always like to show that just so we all have an idea of how things are trending. So
all right. Well, if you want to bring Vincent in here, Sean,
all right,
go ahead and get started.
Yeah. So welcome to the stage here, Vincent. Oh, let's bump him up to 2. There we go.
There you go.
Welcome,
there's Vincent. Hey,
to Chasing the 20s,
buddy?
Man.
Good. How are you?
It's good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you guys too. First time. Talk to you here and there, but yeah, finally good to see you.
Yeah. So I'm Carlisle Esterly, and the top there's Sean.
Yeah.
And this is our 4th episode of Chasing the 20s. It's basically all we talk about is the Susquehanna River, the bronzeback bass that are in there, and all the the other waters that run into the Susquehanna, like the Juniana, Northwest Branch, stuff like that. And we try to get some guests on here and to talk about smallmouth bass fishing.
Nice.
So why don't we go ahead and start by Vince? Why don't you give us a little bit of your background and how you got started fishing, stuff like that?
Well, I think like a lot of us, I started as a kid. I grew up in McBaittown, Lewistown area, so I had the Juniata. So my grandparents lived along the Juniata, so I started just wet wading summertime as a kid. My family did some carp fishing, kicked for stone cats, found some hellgrammites and threw them on. And my uncles and stuff were big on going out in boats, but I was always just a bank angler. I always just wanted to wet wade. And there was a creek in my area. It was called Musser Run. And I remember at the mouth of the creek, it went into the river. And I was always intimidated by the river. But the mouth of that creek had some big trout and some big smallmouth. And then as I got older, I kind of got into a little bit of trout fishing. I dabbled with some fly fishing along the creek where I lived. And then I kind of fell away from fishing for a while. I would do it here and there. And then just a couple of years ago, I moved to the Sealands Grove area, and I had the Susquehanna on my back door, and I had Pennage Creek at my front door, and I started getting back into it. And as soon as I made the first couple casts, I was hooked all over again. And I was like, man, now I remember what I've been missing. But this area here, it's just, I mean, I never fished the Susquehanna until I came here, and I have no complaints. I mean, it's a gem. It's a gem of a fishery for sure, and Penge Creek too.
Definitely. And what at what point did you decide to start your YouTube channel? What led you to that?
So that's all. It's all derived from just fishing, just getting out and seeing these smallmouth and just how big and healthy. And again, it's the Susquehanna. They just have a plethora of food, especially the crawfish. But these smallmouth were just their own beast in itself. And as I was catching them, I was like, man, I kind of had like a falling out in a relationship, which made me start to think of, okay, I'm fishing all the time now. Cause it was kind of like my saving grace, you know, like you get out to get fishing to clear your head, just get away from life, so to speak. But yeah, I started, like I said, catching these smallmouth, and I was like, this needs to be like documented in some way. Like not only for me, but like I have two boys, one's 16 and one's 8. So, and I started it my channel probably like 3 years ago, going on 4 years now. And I was like, this would be something great for them to see their dad doing this, and like motivate them to not to get out to fish, but just be like, the world is an open canvas for you to do what you want, you know? And like, I started making videos, and obviously when you start YouTube, you don't know what you're doing. Like you have a camera strapped to you. I remember I wouldn't even talk most of the time. I wanted the fish to do most of the talking for me. But as I grew more open and just opened my mind up that I'm talking to an invisible audience, and kind of became more comfortable with that. And then again, it's learning the fishery too. It's like you think it's just wetting a line, but you have these eddies, you have these rocks, you have, especially around here, we have a lot of bedrock. So we have these crevices. And so I got to learn more and more about where these smallies are at, whether it's low water, high water, spring, summer, fall, what they're doing. And then as I became more comfortable with the fishing, then I started getting into like lure changes and stuff like that. So like, again, first year of YouTube, it was just getting my feet wet, trying to get comfortable with the camera strapped on you. And then, yeah, second year in, I was like, all right, I want to take it more serious. Let's talk about rigging stuff. And again, it's all just to document what I'm doing, but just to get people out fishing too. Like I never wanted to learn stuff and keep it to myself. Like everything, because like I said, I fell away from fishing and got back into it. So this was kind of like me being like, all right, guys, not only if I can do this, you can do this, but like, here's what I'm doing too. Because like I said, it's so fun. And like when you hook into a huge smallmouth, pound for pound, the way they fight, there's nothing like that. And just to have somebody experience that too, like that's really what I was trying to like captivate and like give to people is like, here's what I'm doing. You should get out and do it too. And I know that there's so many people that live along the Susquehanna and Penge Creek that some people might think that I don't want to fish because I don't know what I'm doing. And I kind of felt like that too, but it's really not that hard to like get out and make a cast. First of all, I mean, it comes with, like I said, getting to know the fishery and stuff like that. But man, it's like playing the lottery. Eventually, if you play enough, you're going to win, you know? So like, if you get out and make enough casts, eventually you're going to catch something. But like, here's some tips and tricks that I can try to help you with. And that was the basis of my channel, is just to get people outside. You know, it's 2025 now, but technology, you have cell phones. Everyone has a cell phone in their face. Everyone has tablets and VRs, especially kids. And like I said, whenever I was a kid, man, my parents had to fight for me to come in, yelling for me at dark to come in, you know? And now kids aren't the same. And with me having kids, that's what I was trying to like help not only them, but I guess speak through them to other kids too. And even adults. And I didn't know how many adults were going to be affected by my YouTube channel. Just over the years, all the feedback I get, like, I mean, obviously you have some of the haters, but a majority of people, they're just like, dude, I love your videos. And I never saw it, you know, 3 years ago, I never saw those comments coming, but it was something I just put my foot down and was like, this is what I want to do. And here I am now doing it. And looking back, I have no regrets. I would do it all again. If anything, I wish I would have did it sooner. I wish I would have did it as a kid at the Juniata, but we didn't have GoPros back in 1996.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, it's a blast, dude. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I noticed a lot about your channel. Like when I must have came across your channel probably 2 years ago, and I'm only 4 years into fishing the river. This is my 4th year. And when I found your channel, I noticed a lot of that. Like you were showing people how to use different things and not afraid to share that information. That's what really drew us to having you on the show, because there's a lot of people out there that like to keep a lot of secrets about stuff like that,
Yeah, for sure.
They don't even want to show what baits they're using. Well, if they're tournament fishermen, I can understand that, but they don't want their spots to get blown up.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that too. I even had people commenting like, yeah, I've been fishing for 30 years and you're telling people stuff it took me 30 years to figure out. And I had no idea. Call me naive, call me what you want. But like, to me, it's just like, it's not really a secret. It's just information that's not being told, And I mean,
yeah,
a lot of it too, like when I first started the YouTube, I wanted to promote small businesses, small tackle, like for instance, North Branch Tackle. Like they're not a huge corporate company by all means. It's Ryan pouring jigs and stuff like that, And I actually stumbled across, because when I started putting my stuff out, you kind of attract people and you don't even know it. And one of those people, like I said, was North Branch Tackle, and it's supporting small companies, like I said. And whenever I found his stuff, he offered to send me some stuff to try out, and obviously I promoted him, through that. But that's another thing too, is like I wasn't trying to like learn everything how to catch fish. I also wanted to promote people that don't know. It's the don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't know about small tackle companies like that, or like Susquehanna Custom Lures, for instance. Like, yeah, they're in our mom and pop, tackle shops, but if you're in Ohio or you're in like Maryland fishing in Susquehanna, you don't really know about these baits and like these lures and stuff. So like that's one thing I also did with the channel, is like reached out to some companies, Nico obviously being one of them, who I think we collaborated pretty quickly just because they were like an elastic company, but they weren't Z-Man. They had great, reliable, durable baits. And if you guys know smallmouth, they'll rip your stuff up real quick and you'll go through bags and bags of stuff. But like that was another thing I wanted to do in my channel, is just get people to know about companies and baits that I guess people just overlook, or whether they know that they're there or not, they want to go to the bigger stuff that's well known. But I don't know. I think if you just give other baits a try too, which I'm huge on. I love, like, I can go out and probably fish, a Nico crawl all year round, but it's fun to try different things too, to see what other companies.
absolutely.
You have so many, especially now with 2025, like I said, and people just trying to do their own thing. Like, it's no harm, no foul to support somebody that's trying to come up. Just like I had all the support with my channel. You know what I mean? If people didn't support me, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't be on this podcast. So like, who am I not to try a small bait guy on Facebook, even that doesn't even have a website, and he's pouring plastic, and be like, hey man, I really like what you're doing. Can I give him a try? And it's people helping people. And that's really what my channel is about, is just helping the next guy. Dude, like I said, we're all just fishing. We're all just trying to enjoy it. And like you said, yeah, when you get into tournaments and stuff like that, that's obviously competition. You spend a lot of time and money. You have, your boats, insurance, like you're trying to win money. You know what I mean? Some of it's for ego, but a lot of it, I mean, people are just out there still. You're just trying to have fun,
Yep. For sure.
And I think, one of the first reasons why I started podcasting was because the same thing. I wanted to learn, but I also wanted to share what I learned. And, if you can help somebody shorten that learning curve a little bit, and they reach out and say, hey, I caught this fish because of something I learned from watching you. That's an awesome feeling. And I,
Yeah.
I can definitely say, watching some of the stuff that you've laid out, whether it was retrieves or all sorts of stuff that helped me definitely be a better angler. So I'm sure many people will echo that sentiment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet too whenever you are YouTubing, because if you're fishing areas that people know about, it kind of burns your spot, so to speak. I'm sure you guys heard that terminology, but that also, ironically helped me to find other spots, because when
Yep.
I first started my YouTube, people saw me whether I was down here at the Alley boat launch or Shady Nook, and then all of a sudden you go the next day and there's 10 people there, and they probably saw your video. So then I would just pull up Google Maps and just, again, it's all about learning the water. And again, that came with time, but like these smallmouth, they just seem to be like, they have these feeding spots, whether it's like a cul-de-sac or like an eddy. I mean, obviously in the colder time they're go-tos, but it helped me, like I said, from here to Lewisburg, just find areas. And that's the great part. It's like I can fish now, like I said, over time, I can fish one area. And again, people think, oh, he caught, a huge fish there yesterday. Let me go tomorrow. That huge fish isn't going to be there. It's right place, right time. And these smallmouth are so nomadic. They're up and down the river feeding. And that's, again, like, the bittersweet part about the YouTube is just like it pushed me to go to different areas, to try different spots. And, I've been blessed with catching some really, really good fish. Doesn't matter. It doesn't, seems like no matter where I go, I stumble across a bronzeback giant. It's fun, dude. It's
Hmm.
so fun.
I think
Yeah.
another
I
thing
noticed that.
watching. Go ahead, Carlo.
I was going to say, I noticed, I started a YouTube channel last year, fishing out of my kayak. And I noticed, uh, after fishing the same areas for so long, a lot more people coming to them areas and fishing them. And that, like you said, it helped me find other spots,
Absolutely.
find other,
Yeah.
and I'm not scared to give my spots up.
Right.
That doesn't bother me at all. I like to see other people catch fish too. And, try, I need, on my channel, I need to learn how to talk a little more about what I'm doing and stuff like that, because like when you were saying about you'd like to have the fish speak for you, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And
Hmm.
I got a small channel that's slowly growing, and I noticed it grows and grows and grows more and more when we get around tournament season, because people are trying to find any little thing they can. And I don't know if that happens with your channel, especially like when the Bassmasters come to the Susquehanna, you get like 100 or 200 more views on your videos within a week.
Right.
Something's going on. But
Yeah, I mean, here, like I said, I'm below the Sunbury Dam, so there's no boat tournaments down this way. From what I hear, because like I said, with me fishing now and living in the area, I talk to a lot of older gentlemen who they claim that there used to be tournaments down this way, but there isn't anymore. But when it comes to the kayakers, because now they have that Susquehanna Trail that comes through, I have noticed that whenever that's getting closer, I have a whole spike up of views and people in my
yeah,
area because the kayak fishermen. But
yeah. So that's if you got a really hot video, it's kind of maybe hold on to that until like the week before that tournament. Your views are gonna blow up on it. That's what it seems to be.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so what year did you start your YouTube channel? Like when you really started getting into it?
yeah. So like I said, whenever I first started, it was like my first video, if I had to guess, was probably 3 years ago, summertime. This year is probably my fourth. 2025 is probably my fourth year starting it. And again,
Yeah.
my first couple of videos, I wouldn't even edit them. I would just put them through GoPro's editing software. So it kind of just puts a clip here and a clip there and a clip here. Then it just has the GoPro, marketing sign on its way out. So I probably did that for a good 6 months until I did this all on my phone. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a laptop. It was just straight passion, just like I'm gonna put something up. And then I started with iMovie and started editing right on my phone, just pulling it from my GoPro, just Bluetoothing it to my phone, trying to figure it out. Just because you have to start somewhere, and it's cringy, like people say, watching your first couple videos because you're leaving dead spots in where it's just you're casting and nothing's being done, and over time you have learned to just what to cut out, what to
Yeah.
keep in, and again, like you said, you don't really talk that much because you're I don't want to say you're keeping it all inside your head, but you're not thinking like what's common sense to some people isn't common sense to everybody. So like you might be rigging something and it's common sense to you because you're doing it, what you're rigging, but somebody may never rigged a Texas rig. I mean, as goofy as that sounds, but we think it's so common. And if there's somebody that just started fishing last week, they don't even know what a drop shot rig is. You know what I mean? Like, so once I kind of started implementing that and figuring out that like, because a lot of it's comments too, like what are you doing, like how'd you rig that, what are you using, what hook are you using, what weight are you using, like because people just don't know. I don't think they're just trying to, like, to me it was never they're trying to gain an upper hand of like how to catch more fish. Honestly, just figured out people just don't know. And I think with my channel being so small, and I think it's just like my personality too, is where like people saw that like, hey, he's not like showboating. He's not like, hey, look at what I'm catching. He actually wants to help people. So then I have a lot of comments coming in of people like, what are you doing? How'd you rig that? Or like, what bait were you using? And I realized it was just people that just don't know. And
Yeah.
again, I
Yeah.
was looking past that the whole time because here I am and I see people fishing, and it's just that persona where you think, well, if that guy's out there fishing, he has to know what he's doing. I've seen people in the wintertime throwing top water. So like people just
Hmm.
they don't know what they don't know. And again, instead of me like standing back and like laughing at them or, poking fun, it's like I'll walk up to them and be like, hey, you should probably try this instead of that. So I just kind of like intertwine that with my videos too, or just thinking that over time, it's like people just don't know. So then again, just starting to talk more. And I don't know, like I said, a lot of it's the baits too. It's like you can use a lot of great baits because again, it's not like I never want my videos to be like you can't catch fish unless you're using this, because that's not the case at all.
Right.
You can use a
Right.
crawfish on the same day or using a fluke, and both people are going to catch fish. You know, so
Right.
like
Right.
whenever, like I said, to circle back, yeah, whenever I first started the YouTube, like I said, probably 3 years ago, it was, I wouldn't even call it YouTube videos. There, if anything, it was just getting my feet wet and seeing what would happen. Because I remember I'd have 50 views in like 6 months, and there's a couple times where I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And then I have to like remind myself, you're doing this because eventually you want to help people. Like you're doing this to help people, even though you're only helping 50 people in 6 months. It's gonna get bigger. It's just give it time, and again, it was I just wanted to have an impact on just the fishing culture in itself, and not in a bad way, because even when I'm out and I see junk and people leaving fishing line and trash, I call people out. I'm like, hey, people, pick up your trash, especially at like Shady Nook. They have a lot of cat fishermen down there, and they go down there at night. You go down the next morning, there's trash everywhere. So like, I also want to keep the environment clean too. You know what I mean? Because again, this
Yeah.
fishing is not brand new. I mean, it got a lot more publicity through COVID because people were stuck at home. I noticed that too. A lot more people came out, but like it's all just a cycle of like there's going to be more fishermen coming up. Fishermen have been around for probably thousands of years. But like now, this day and age, it's like, yeah, like fishing's fun, but like also too, like I just want to shout out, just don't litter, guys. You know what I mean? Like pick up your trash. Like it's not that hard to go in with what you came out with, or even go out with more. Pick up trash that somebody left there. You know what I mean? So like I definitely want to advocate that too, just because of the fisheries. But yeah, I mean, in a whole, like I said, it's just with social media now, you get a lot more publicity with posting videos and stuff, especially if you have a good channel and like you're not just doing it for like money, because I'll straight up tell you, you're not going to make money. Like, you're not. I mean, I even with me, I'm obviously monetized now on YouTube, but what I make, you know what I mean, a couple $100 a month, you're not going to make it rich. So like if your heart's not in it to like do it for the passion of fishing, you need to find something else to do. Like it has to be
Yeah.
about helping people, obviously just like documenting and seeing these awesome smallies. I mean, smallmouth, like I said, they're my favorite. They'll always be my favorite. I could move out of the state, which I've talked to people that lived in PA that now live out of the state, and they see my channels and they're like, man, I miss them smallmouth. Like
Yeah.
they have a place in your heart and they always will. But if it, like I said, if your passion isn't fishing, don't start a YouTube channel. Go out for fun, you know, do it on the weekend. But yeah, I mean, if you really have a passion for it, and I'm just, like I said, trying to inspire anybody watching, and you want to start a YouTube channel, you're not going to know what you're doing. Just start, you know, just start somewhere. And the best part is like each creator is their own person. So like once you find your niche of like how you're going to talk to people and stuff like that, it's a great thing, because I'm not John B, like I'm not you guys, you know what I mean? I am my own person. And some people, like when I was first coming up, they're like, dude, why are you doing that? There's already fishing videos out there. There's already YouTubers, like you're wasting your time. And I'm like, well, you're missing the point. I'm doing it because I love it. I'm not doing it
Yep.
to one up the next person or to be, you know, a million subscribers in a year. I'm doing it because I like it. And like when I'm dead and gone, or when I'm 80 years old and I go back to a video that I watched, and like of like say that massive walleye I caught, you know, bass fishing, it's just good memories to have, you know. My kids don't have kids yet. I can pull up a video from my YouTube channel when I have grandkids, and be like, yo, check out what your pappy caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like
that's
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
all
Yeah.
it's all fun. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I think a lot of the reason why I film is just to show everybody how lucky we are, you know,
Yeah,
to have a river like this in our backyard. And catching fish is just a bonus, you know.
absolutely. Yeah. I
And
mean,
I really like the way too that, I mean, you can, if you know, having watched you from darn near the beginning, I got, you know, it's cool to see the way that you've evolved too. Like not like you started including some underwater shots and all different
mhm.
things that you've added to your channel, that just you can see you growing too. But in the same way, you kind of stay yourself, and you know you also are, you're super genuine. You know, you say, hey, it's been tough these last couple days, you know, I've been struggling. And you know, so you know, you highlight the good and the bad, and but keep plugging away. And I think, you know, Carlisle and I were talking before the show, one of the things both of us love about you is the positive attitude, and like some of the uplifting messages that you just include from time to time. I mean, that's really that really, you know, kind of, I think, really ties people to you, and you know, is going to keep them coming back, because they, you know, you put yourself out there, you're super genuine about what you're doing, and you're positive, and you know, I think that's definitely going to, you know, keep people
That's
plugged.
huge.
Yeah,
That's huge
Mhm.
for somebody, like he said, he's not trying to be a millionaire from this, but to be successful in life, that's a huge that takes part, you know,
Yeah,
to be that kind of a person.
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, just to peel back some layers of that. So like one thing I found too with fishing is it parallels a lot with life. You know, like
a lot of life lessons. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Like for instance, like if you catch a huge fish, like have a huge fish hooked up and it gets off, like it can ruin your day. Just like if you know, go to get a coffee in the morning and someone has a bad attitude with you, it can ruin your day if you let it. You know what I mean? So like that's one of the things where I kind of like, I, as a human being, as a person, just day in and day out, just try to expand and be better. You know what I mean? Try not to let small things get to me. It's life. Life happens. You know, just like with fishing, it's fishing. It happens. Like you can buy, you know, a $20 lure and backlash and have it snap off, and you know, you can go home with your tail between your legs and give up fishing for that day, or you can just be like, you know, it sucks, it does, but it is what it is, and I'm gonna tie something else on and try something else. So like that's kind of where my positivity comes from. Is just like it's just me as a person too. I mean, even if I have friends, family, loved ones, whatever, just having a an off time, I just try to speak encouragement to them. And it's not a bunch of BS. It's not just me trying to be kind. It's like I get it, but there's so much negativity in the world. Like, and you are what
100% agree. Yep.
yeah, you are what you eat. Like you can be just as easy as you can be negative. You can be good, like positive too. Like, and it's like just as there's karma, there's blessings too. Like what you give off comes back around. So like if you're just a negative person all the time, your life's probably gonna be negative, you know? And just like if you're a good person and you have like good vibes going out, it comes back around too. And I kind of like I said, it's just life and just fishing just paralleled with me. Like when I was just thinking about things, because I mean, I've had just like everybody else, I've had things happen where you don't want them to happen. It's life, but like you just take it for what it is. If anything, learn a lesson from it and just keep going and just know that it's not always going to be like that. It's temporary, and that's kind of like what I did with the fishing too. It's like I don't post videos of me not catching just because I don't want to call it a waste of time, but I mean, I could, but people don't want to see that. They want to see the catches, you know what I mean? But yeah, whenever I'm not catching anything, I know. See, that's the magic of editing is like they don't see that I've been out there for 2 days, 3 days trying to catch a fish, because you can post 3 catches in 3 days and it's up in 10 minutes and it looks like you did it in 10 minutes, but they don't see the grind of you jumping from spot to spot or just, I don't know. I mean, there is days where it's like that, but then there's days where every cast you're catching something. So like,
Yeah.
I kind of try to have a balance in between to where I don't want people to think it's so easy, but when it's not easy, yeah, I do try to voice that and let people know that like even if you go out and like say you watch a video, you get inspired to go out and you don't catch anything, don't be like, oh, fishing sucks. No, fishing sucked that day, but you got the next
Yeah.
day, you could hook into something giant. You just don't know. So just keep getting out, keep casting, and like that's the whole reason like anglers anchor. It's to stay anchored, like stay positive, like anchored to something, meaning like don't be so wishy-washy, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
it's life, it's fishing, it's all one and the same. It's not perfect, it's never going to be perfect. Just make the most of it, get out, have fun. And like you guys say, Susquehanna, this area, it's beautiful. Even if you don't get out, dude, a summer evening, the sunset, like watching just the wildlife, everything, dude, that right there in itself is worth it. You know what I mean? You could sit along the bank with not even have a fishing rod and just be completely just awestruck with the beauty of this area.
Absolutely.
I think dude,
Eh,
just the the variety that the Susquehanna offers too, and you see that on your channel where you're chasing smallies, and then all of a sudden you'll land a 2-foot muskie, and you're like, oh hey, check that out. It's such
Yeah.
every cast is a surprise almost. So
hmm
I mean, and you don't necessarily get that if you don't keep trying.
Yeah. And again, you said about the underwater footage and stuff. That's something that I want to do. I mean, because it's my channel, so I want to expand it. Just like I said, speaking about myself, I want to expand as a person. Like who I was 5 years ago isn't who I am today, and who I am, 5 years from now isn't gonna be who I am today. So like it's the same with my channel, is I wanted to implement and add some things to it, and again, it's all about just the scenery too, and like the underwater footage of stuff. And I try to captivate just again, it's to encourage people that like this is what you're missing out on. Like unless you get out,
mhm.
like you can watch videos inside, but like you could also experience this for yourself if you get out. You know what I mean? So that's what I try to do too, is just like showcase just I mean the beauty of the area. And again, it's not only here, you can go all over. You can even be a hunter and see it in the mountains, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be along water, but something about water that I'm just drawn to. It always have been, like I said, from a kid. But yeah, like I said,
I
I
was just gonna say, I think your last couple were really small trout streams that on your
mhm.
channel, so that was kind of cool too. Just a little change of pace there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's because everything is, ice locked right now,
Yeah.
more or less.
Yeah.
Susquehanna has big icebergs, and there's like 6 foot of ice from the bank right now, so it's pretty much impossible. I mean, trust me, if I could be out there fishing, I would. So that's another thing too, is I'm not a huge trout fisherman. If anything, it's like I was when I started smallmouth fishing. I'm completely naive. I'm ignorant with a lot of things. So like that's expanding me and breaking me out of the river scene and getting up into the mountain streams and fishing a little ultralight rod with a 30-second ounce little jig. Like it's different to me. And plus, I mean, trout are smart too. They can spot you pretty quickly, and you have to figure they have bear and
Yeah.
everything else trying to eat them, so they're not dumb. And same with smallmouth too, they're not dumb. But yeah, I have been up in the mountains the past couple of days, and unfortunately I've been striking out more than I've been catching. But again, it's about that learning curve
That's the
and
process. Yeah.
getting out. Yeah.
And when you
You're
figure
out
it
there
out,
fishing.
it's only going to make you a stronger angler overall,
Yeah, the diversity. Yeah.
That name Angler's Anchor fits you so well, because it's like that's your anchor. That's what keeps you.
You mentioned, why you kind of got into it, whether I noticed that a lot when I was helping with Heroes on the Water. Unfortunately our local chapter kind of closed, but while I was helping out with them, that was all for veterans and first responders. They could come out and we would, give them a fishing pole and a kayak and be like, hey, here you go, let's go fishing. And kind of, it's such a therapeutic thing. So many people are fighting so many things, and I feel like if they can get a chance to experience that, it's such a a release for me. It's stress relief. It's it clears my mind. It's challenging obviously, but I feel like I get so much more out of it than what I give back, honestly. But and I definitely see that from your channel as well.
Yeah, no, it's a reset for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
again, like I said, I'm a father, so like I have some issues with kids once in a while. I mean, I have a teenager, I have a 16-year-old, so I don't know if you guys have any kids, but teenage years. But yeah, and just life in general. Like I said, I probably 6 months ago, I was with a company for 6 years. They decided to let me go. I had my sister pass away. Like, and again, I'm not saying like woe is me, but because there's other people out there that go through the same things. And you're absolutely right. Like fishing anchors me. Like it's not me neglecting or trying to suppress what I'm feeling. It's me trying to just process it a little bit better. Like like when emotions are high, logic is low. So like whenever you're out in the water or you're along like streams or on the mountains or whatever, it's like I said, it's a reset. It still helps you process what's going on, but I guess more effectively in a way where you're not going to like let it bring you down. You're just processing it to to motivate you and strengthen you to go forward. And just like I said, it's not only me, it's everybody. And that's one thing I think we look past because life happens so quickly and so fast, especially nowadays. It's flying by. And we forget that the person, we're walking by could be dealing with something that you have no idea what they're dealing with. So again, yeah, I mean, fishing is just like you said, it's therapeutic. I've had people say, through comments, it's my church. I get closer to God out there, which, honestly, I believe that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying worship the river like it's God, but I'm saying that, yeah, it's all one and the same. Like it's gonna help you to just be more grounded with understanding that, yeah, again, this isn't what I wanted to happen. Whatever you're going through in life, whether, like I said, it's loss of a job, your kids, a family member, you lose them, whatever relationship, like it just, it's something to get you away from, like, say, going to drugs or alcohol. You know what I mean? It's just good, clean fun. And like, I'll be honest, like I grew up with, addiction. Like I guess I'm still an addict because now I'm a fisherman, like through and through. But addiction has been in my family. Like it's been around me, it's been through me. Like, and I see a lot of people struggling even now because, history repeats itself. If it's not our generation, there's another generation coming up that's struggling with addictions. But that's another thing too. It's like, it's a good, clean way to get out there get help in some way, because going out with friends and fishing, you guys are just having a blast. You know what I mean? You're out there having fun. You're, ripping lips and catching big fish and just having a blast. So like, that's another thing too. I think I forget about that sometimes. Is like, people see my channel and they're like, dude, instead of, going and, having a river fire and drinking, let's go fishing. You know what I mean? Let's do this. And so like, if that helps inspire people to get out there and have I guess a better way of dealing with things too, then I'm all for it, because it helps me. Like I said, I get in some funk. We're human beings, you know what I mean? I get in
Yep.
some funk, and whenever I get out fishing, dude, I forget all about what happened. If
You
anything,
get
I
that
might be thinking
reset.
about it. Yeah, like I might be thinking
Yeah.
about it a little bit, but I have a better perspective on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not so, like I said, down
Absolutely.
and negative. I'm like, you know what I'm dealing with isn't so bad, because it's temporary. Everything's temporary. Eventually it's gonna go away. But yeah, I mean, fishing, like I said, it's saved me so many ways. And if it did it for me, I know it can do it for other people. So like,
Yeah. That's so cool. I was gonna ask you because I seen some of your videos where you like fished on your lunch break. Like
mhm,
what your full-time job was.
right. That at the time I was making snowboards and skis for Gilson. It was a snowboard, and they were actually out in New Berlin. So again, I guess it's just where God led me. But they had property which aligned right up by Penge Creek. So on my lunch breaks, the owners of the property, I asked them, hey, do you mind if I fish back there? I would just pack a lunch or go to the store, get a lunch. And again, that was also me trying to, because like your channel won't grow unless you're posting. So it was a passion for me to get a YouTube channel up and going, but I also had to make full income. You know what I mean? Because YouTube's not paying my bills.
Hmm.
So it's a
Right.
balance. It's like, all right,
You got to
this
get
is
that
my,
content too.
yeah, exactly. So like, if you starve your channel for content, you're going to starve it for growth too. So
Yeah.
like I said, ended up fishing that at my lunch breaks, and it happened to be a great fishery too. But even whenever they moved the company now to Sealands Grove here, again, it's right there, right beside Penge Creek. So I'd fish there. And it was also right by my house too. So I have Penge Creek and the Susquehanna. But again, it was all the mainly reason I fished on lunch breaks was to keep the channel going, because in the wintertime or in the fall, even like if you're working till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it gets dark in a half
Dark.
hour, you don't have
It's
time.
dark.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
start at 6 o'clock in the morning, you don't have time. So like, it's one of those things where you have to make time. And that's where I found to make time was like, hey, I have a half hour lunch break. I'm gonna go make some casts. Maybe I'll catch something, maybe I won't, but I have to at least try, And
Yeah.
that's
Well,
partly why my
Sean,
channel.
that
Go
was
ahead.
one of the reasons why we started this podcast to keep our channel fresh during the wintertime,
Mm-hmm.
because now it's ice everywhere. You can't really get out there and fish. We fish from kayaks a lot, so um it's not super safe to be out there with icebergs floating down the river and stuff like
Right,
that.
right. Yeah, it's just a
But
pain in the butt
although
too.
we did get out, we were out last Sunday, Sean.
Yep.
That's correct, right? Last
Yep.
Sunday,
I believe that's
we
right.
were down in the deeper water down our way, and we both got skunked.
Yeah.
I was
Last
gonna
year,
go ahead,
I,
Vincent.
I remember last winter, it wasn't this bad as far as like cold. Because I remember last winter, I was still catching some from the bank. But
Yeah,
this winter, yeah, there's a lot more ice for sure.
yeah. I don't think we had hardly any ice at all last year on the river.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
it was really warm.
yeah, that's one thing. Like, there's this belief that people have that like fish hibernate and you can't catch them in the winter time. And that's the farthest
Yeah,
thing from the
that's not
truth that I
true.
know. I mean, they are lethargic. You're not going to catch as many, but fish don't hibernate. Like, they're, especially the big ones. The big ones, they still have to stay big. They still have to eat.
Yep.
And what I found last year in the wintertime is the bigger ones are the ones that they're solo. They're out there by themselves. They're not schooled up. And yeah, right place, right time. And unfortunately, like I said, I can't show that right now. But that's another thing I want to, like, I use for my channel too, is get people away from these, false realities that people put out there that aren't true at all. You know what I mean? So hopefully, once this cold front, I think next couple of days are supposed to be pretty frigid, but hopefully after that things start to thaw out and I can get on some, February fish here and show people that the big ones are still out there. Yeah, it might take you a couple of days to catch one, but it's well worth it, because my biggest bass, smallmouth I caught out of Susquehanna, was in January last year at the boat launch. It was just a touch over 5 pounds. And,
Wow.
most people wouldn't believe that if I didn't have a video up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, you caught that in the summertime. No, that was a January fish. That was my biggest small, my PB. Yeah. So the big ones are out there in the winter. It's just, like you said, getting away from the ice and being able to cast.
Yeah, I
And I
had
was
that in my
gonna,
notes to ask you what your PB was, but you just already answered that. You don't know how long that fish was? Just you just
Um,
weighed it?
I think I measured at the time. It's probably, if I remember correctly, just over 20. So probably like maybe 20 and a quarter. But yeah,
Nice.
it was higher water. It was thawing out, because that's the nice part too. It was like we have snow and ice, and the best part, like as a bank angler, I'm speaking. So the best part is fish. Obviously, as you guys probably know, they get pulled closer to the bank when the water levels come up. They don't
yep.
want to be out
Yeah.
there fighting that current. You know what I mean? So
Struggling. Yeah.
they pull up closer to the bank, especially in the wintertime, because you have cold water, plus you have all that current. So as a bank angler, you're in heaven. You find
Yeah.
that right eddy, that right cul-de-sac or whatever, where there's dead water, and you cast in there, there's a good chance you're going to hook into a giant, and that's exactly what happened
Nice.
whenever I caught that one. It was right there at the public boat launch. Um, I don't remember how high it was. It was probably 10 foot at the time, like according to the river, the guide, the water level. But in that area, it was probably 8 foot deep. But yeah, I remember I cast it in, and it's slow jagging a jig, and again, they slurp it up. They don't bang it like they do in the summertime. It's not a hard thump. So you just have to like be very aware of like small little subtle things, and it was a small little tap, and I knew it was a fish, and I set the hook, and when I didn't move, I didn't know what it was, but whenever I saw it and I pulled it up, I knew it was a PB. I just knew it, and yeah, it was big old, like five. I think it was 504 or something like that, 505, and it was a heck of a rush. But yeah,
That is a huge swallow. Yeah.
I've seen bigger. I've seen bigger for sure. I've hooked into some, which they've got off. So maybe it's the fisherman in me, but I know that there's bigger ones out there. I've been on boats with friends and stuff like that, and have been up to the PP&L dam, and I've looked down in the summertime and seen, 2, 3, 6 pounders, and that's in the summertime.
Right.
So like I know, and that's after I caught my 5, because then you have something you can kind of reflect off of like, okay, this was this big, and I know that one's bigger, so that's probably pushing 6. So dude, there's some giants in this area. So that's
Oh
what
yeah.
keeps me casting too. Is it's a matter of time before I catch another PB, but just got to get out there and keep trying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I was gonna say too, you talked a little bit about how, you can learn stuff by watching a lot of different people, and
Mhm.
you have a definite a way of casting your spinning rod gear that I had never seen before. And I remember,
Yeah.
I think I even asked you about it. And so I've experimented a little bit with that. I mean, holding the line actually you do have more sensitivity there. I think a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a bad habit. I don't know if you call it a bad habit, but that's a habit I picked up from, again, at the creek as a kid. I mean, young kid. I'm talking probably like 8, 10 years old. There had a lot of like we'd get in some tight spots where you have a branch over you have a bridge over you have stuff beside you, and you can't like cast and you can't flick, so you kind of just hold your line out and kind of flip it under stuff, and that's
Hmm.
kind of, again, it's just a habit I picked up, and yeah, unfortunately, I can't get away from it. Whenever, as hard as I want, I try to do the whole like get it with one finger and cast it out, but it's hard to get away from, man. I can't even lie. And it's weird because I'll be out in a boat with somebody and there's nothing around me and I'll still be doing that. I'll still be flipping it out. I'm like, what am I doing?
If it works, though,
Yeah.
you know, the ends
Yeah, it
justify
works.
the means, or the means justify
Yeah.
the ends, or no, it's the ends
Yeah.
justify the means. Yeah.
You're not the only one. I've had a lot of people say that. Like, why do you cast like that? Why? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just how I cast.
Have you ever tried kayak fishing on the Susquehanna?
You in your videos. I remember you having a kayak for a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. So I had a Catch Power 100. I had it for a little bit. It was one that had a trolling motor mounted in the back. And yeah, I found it on Marketplace for a good price. And I mean, I still want to kayak fish. I just, right now I don't have one. I end up selling that one. But yeah, I got out for a little bit with that. But I noticed that like that was more for like lakes or like still water because with that, with reaching back and like maneuvering the trolling motor, by the time you stop and you get situated to cast, you're like this. You were like this, and now you're like this because of the current. You know what I mean? So like it was more of a pain in the butt, and I was struggling to like get situated, and then I ended up, like I said, I fished on it for a little bit, which helped me explore to find some more areas too. But then I sold it because I wanted to get a pedal drive because I felt like that would be more suitable for what I'm doing with the current. You know, you can still kick and, you know, bump something and still be kicking versus letting the current, you know, spinning you around. And so like it's definitely on my to-do list to get another one. But again, lesson learned is probably a pedal drive for more streams and currents and stuff like that. But yeah, I did have a kayak for a little bit. And it was fun. It was nice to get out, but then again, it was also a headache when you can't get
Yeah, when
situated.
you
You're
can't
spinning in
hold
circles trying to
position.
fix yourself more than you're making casts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now with all the technology they have, they have all these new different motors with foot steering and stuff like that, and power poles and everything else on kayaks. It's a little easier,
Right. Yeah.
but it's not cheap either. This
No,
stuff you're
but
talking
you get
thousands of
what you pay for
dollars.
too. Yeah, you also
Yep.
get what you pay for. So yeah, you spend the extra money, but it's going to be a lot more convenient for you. But yeah, you're right. They're not cheap, but again, I
Yeah.
think they're well worth. From what I hear, I've never heard anyone
Oh
complain.
yeah.
I wasted five
No.
grand on a kayak. If anything, they're static about it. You know what I mean? Then
Yeah.
the upgrades you can put on stuff. Again, it's just starting with something and making it better, making it more suitable for your needs. And I mean, it's
Yep.
definitely, like I said, it's on my to-do list. Definitely get out there. And again, that'll be part of the growth of the channel too, is not only bank fishing, but kayak fishing, because I want my channel to kind of like pertain to a lot of different people. And some people
Yeah.
don't have the means to buy a kayak, so they are bank fishing. And some people are kayak fishermen. So like I do want to do some kayak fishing. And then somewhere down the road, I wouldn't mind getting, you know, a jet boat, like John boat with a jet and ripping around and, you know, finding some areas with that. So like, I mean, I'll never get away from bank fishing. It's always who I'm gonna be. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna expand the channel and do some kayaking and stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, if you ever do that, you're gonna have to hit up me and Sean, and we could do a little collab video
Yeah,
out on the
no,
kayaks.
that'd be awesome. What area are you guys at? Are you in like the Harrisburg area? Where are you at?
A little bit below Harrisburg,
Okay.
around Wrightsville. We fish Wrightsville a lot, but we do come up north and fish for some tournaments up there and stuff like that. We're not very far away, about an
Okay.
hour. That's where the bigger fish are anyway, up there, ain't Sean? Up north.
Sometimes. I mean, we found them all over, but
yeah. So I have one more question. I know we're rolling up on an hour here, and we don't want to keep you for too much longer. I wanted to ask what does fishing do for you, but you kind of answered it as far as, you know, it gives you that reset and anchors you and stuff like that. But so to add to that question, what does the Susquehanna River mean to you? Like
That's a good question.
to be living so close to the area, and I know a lot of us take it for granted. We have, but to me it means the world. That's all. I fish the Susquehanna all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I felt like I was led here. I didn't know how great this area was. I mean, not only like I live in a pretty quiet neighborhood, which is great, but the fishing in itself, I mean, if I didn't know about it, I would, now that I know about it, if I didn't know about it, I'd be so regretful of not finding it. You know what I mean? Like now that I've experienced it, but I can tell you this much, now that I know about the Susquehanna, no matter where I am in life, it's always going to bring me back. It's always
Yep.
going to have a place in my heart. It doesn't matter. I mean, I can move out of state, and I've talked to people that, like I said, I mean, you guys know people travel all over the world to come here to fish the Susquehanna, you know, all over the US, especially even Penns Creek. Penns Creek in itself, when it comes to like the hatcheries with trout fishermen, they'll travel clean across the state, you know, from way out to fish it. But yeah, the Susquehanna to me, like, I mean, in a big picture, like you said, it means everything to me. But it's going to be something where I'm going to come, whether it's with my kids, again, whether it's with my grandkids, like I said, my girlfriend, wife, whatever. It's going to be a place where we come and just enjoy it. And
Hmm.
obviously 100% of the time I'm gonna have a fishing rod in my hand, but it's definitely one of those places where once you've experienced it and you know what it does not only to you but to, like to others, again, like you said, it anchors me. It truly does. It's my reset. Even if I'm having a great day, it's just going to make a great day greater. And if I'm having a bad day, it's going to turn my bad day into a blessing of some sort, because it definitely is. Like I said, I don't even know what the word is, but it has a special meaning in my heart, and it always will. Like I said, and if I wouldn't have come across it, I don't know. I don't know where I'd be in life. I honestly don't. Like I feel like it definitely was in some way, shape, or form just helping me along my purpose in life. You know, my destiny, whatever you want to call it. I'm glad that, you know, I was led here. We found each other, whatever. But the
Yep.
Susquehanna is, it's a beauty. I don't know how else to say it. With the fisheries, the views, the people, and like even when I'm fishing and I see like the families and stuff going, because it's part of the greenway in my area. So there's a lot of kayak people that aren't even fishing. They're just coming through. They sleep on the islands and stuff like that. So like even when you see just people out there enjoying it, and they might take, you know, one trip out of the whole year because that's what they look forward to, versus me, I get to walk out there every day and see it. So like even seeing
Yeah.
people experience that and knowing that what they're experiencing, because you can relate to it. They waited, you know, 6 months to a year for that trip, so you know what they're feeling, because I feel it every day. So like that's what I mean. It's just, it's not only me. So like I encourage anybody, if you have not fished the Susquehanna, find an area. I don't, just pull it up in your map and just go to it, and you're gonna understand what we're talking about. But the Susquehanna, it breathes life in its own special way for sure.
That's awesome.
Very well said.
Well, just keep doing what you're doing with your channel because I was on it last night and I was looking and it was saying that you had like over 500,000 views since you started your channel. So you're reaching out to a lot of people and I guarantee you're changing a lot of lives as far as you know, just with your attitude. You know,
Hmm.
it doesn't even have to be about fishing. Just the way you bring yourself about on your videos and stuff like that. You're helping a lot of people.
I
Not
appreciate
like I
that.
said, not only in fishing, but just this discussion with you today is like, wow, this guy's awesome.
Hmm.
So just keep it up, Vince. You're a special dude, man.
I appreciate that. We definitely have to link up sometime and do some fishing.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got a couple other things. If you want to hang around, which a couple of little announcements that we want to do, and we're you're welcome to bounce, or if you just want to hang around, probably
Yeah.
be in another 5 minutes or so.
Yeah. Can I give a
So
couple shout outs real quick
Oh,
though?
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Let folks
absolutely,
know where they can
absolutely.
find you and all that fun stuff for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So my YouTube is Angler's Anchor. Facebook, uh, I don't want to call you out, but you mispronounced my last name, which everybody does. but it's Stuter, not Stutter.
Stuter.
So
My bad.
it's Vincent Stuter. Yeah, no, you're good, dude. Trust me. If I had $1 my whole life for a mispronunciation, I'd be hooking you guys up. But no, yeah. So, and then I think I have an Instagram account too, which is Angler's Anchor. But I spoke about North Branch Tackle. I mean, from day one, Ryan has been there for me. So I want to give a huge shout out to them. Check out his website, northbranchtackle.com. It's a lot of jigs. He even does guiding, I believe, in like the Wilkesboro area. Susquehanna Custom Lures. I mean, Mickey, great dude. He's a bait maker. He does a lot of like jerk baits, swim baits, hard plastics. As you know, Nico, you guys know them, but check out Nico, Tackle Max. They're a smaller company. Again, supported me in the channel for a while now. Bull Bay Rods, they just recently started helping me like a year ago. I love their rods. I mean, I was a St. Croix user. I've used Bull Bay now, and again, just top quality, American made, good rods. And then for a local tackle shop in my area, Southside Tackle, I mean, they're a great tackle shop. So definitely help small businesses. Give all them, a chance if you would. But they've helped me in the channel through the past couple of years. So nothing but respect for all of them for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, we're trying to throw in some links. If you guys are checking in or tuning in from either Facebook or YouTube, make sure you check the comments for links to Vincent's stuff. And yeah, definitely go out and support him if you haven't checked him out already. I promise you're going to learn something good.
Yeah, thank you for your time, guys. This is good talking. I love talking fishing. I could talk about it for days. But
yeah, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. I'll do it again.
Sweet.
We'll have to keep in touch, get together one of these days.
Yeah.
All right. So, you have anything else for Vince, Sean?
No, man. Just thanks again, and we'll definitely, hopefully hook up sometime and hit the water with you. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
All right. Thanks, Vince. See ya.
All righty.
All right,
well, that was
Sean,
awesome. Just exactly what I expected, but that was amazing.
What a great dude.
Yeah. So there you go. If you have a hole in your life and you want to fill it with something, let's fill it with fishing.
Yeah.
There's so many other things you can fill it with. But
I do encourage people to go check out his YouTube channel because so much to learn.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And such positive vibes coming off of him.
I really admit, for one thing, I want to try is wet wading because I just don't do that as much. And in a lot of the tournaments we do, you're allowed to do that as long as your kayak is tethered to you. And I see people doing it, I just don't do it as much, and I feel like I'm missing out. So
I feel the same way. I think we need to start doing more of that when we're fishing the kayak tournaments.
Yeah, agreed.
I did want to mention Susquehanna Fish and Tackle. They're having Smallmouth Saturday, February 8th. Everything smallmouth.
Probably seminars again, and
yeah, all that stuff. If you're if you're crazy about smallmouth like we are, you do not want to miss this show. Crazy sales. I'm sure George is going to have another huge sheet that he hands out when you go in the store of all different kinds of discounts and sales that they're having. They're going to have seminars. They'll have that big tent out there that I think they could fit about 200 people in there or so. And they're going to have seminars, all kinds of stuff like that. So that'll be February 8th. And hope to see everybody out there. I know I'll probably be there. But yeah.
I will more than likely be there as well.
So I want to see if anybody can comment who won the Eagles game. I missed the end of it.
It was the Eagles.
Was it?
I peeked on my phone. I can't lie.
All right. Well, if we ain't got anything else, I think we covered mostly everything we needed to. Had a great guest on tonight. We appreciate. I've seen a lot of people hung on till the last minute here, so we
Yeah,
appreciate the
yes,
views.
100%. Thanks for hanging
one
in
more
with us.
thing.
What's next week?
One more thing, Sean. One more thing before we go.
Okay.
If anybody does want to support the channel, I have a link down in the description of this video for Railblazer. If you go on Railblazer, use the link we have. We get a little kickback from that. And there's also a 25% discount code. If you would go on there, you can use that. So we appreciate everybody for watching, and we will see you on the next Chasing the 20s.
Have a good night,
Thanks, guys.